Hello, my gorgeous souls. It's your spiritual business bestie, Vanessa Samina, right here on the Psychic CEO channel. And today we're going to do things a little differently. We're going to have lots of fun because I've got a presentation prepared for you. So get a beverage of your choice prepared, make yourself at home and comfortable, or listen in on this podcast style. Do know that the presentation that we'll be going through today on helping you to build a magnetic and successful spiritual brand is available as a free downloadable PDF. I've of course attached it to the description box of this video because it's wildly important for me to take you from just a dream or from a business that's struggling to actually building your spiritual brand in a way that is sustainable and doesn't make you feel like the woo-woo crazy friend, but actually makes you feel proud and accomplished. So let's get into it. I've got the presentation right over here on my laptop, so we'll be going through it together, and I'll also be putting it on the screen. Now, building a magnetic spiritual brand is all about you attracting soul-aligned clients, right? And we'll also, of course, be using our tarot and oracle cards throughout this because it's important for me that you receive a type of long-form content and learning that actually integrates with you and isn't just this short-form stuff that's frying your brain. So pay close attention to how you feel throughout this presentation and the things that really stick with you for your brand and your business growth. We've got the Wheel of Fortune. So literally the first point, which is about attracting soul-aligned clients, that is going to help you to build abundance with ease, and the Wheel of Fortune represents just that. Creating a type of brand where you have good fortune and abundance that comes towards you effortlessly. It starts with you having soul-aligned clients. So it's really important that you learn how to attract those, how to build a brand that actually gets you the right clients and that doesn't just get you seen all over the internet, because I always like to say, what's the point in having thousands or millions of followers if none of them convert, if you're not able to actually live off of your art, your creativity, or your spirituality, if you're not actually able to align with clients that you want to work with? Because a lot of you are wildly underselling yourself. You've got a product and you're trying to sell it for $99, even though it's worth $5,000, even though it's worth $10,000, and you're having a hard time even selling it at $99 because guess what? These are not your soul-aligned clients. These are not people who see the value, right? And the value in what you provide is basically how their lives change after having your product. And also another huge pain point that you have to make clear to your clients is what they're missing out on by not having your product, by not having your service, and what it's costing them. That's an incredible way in which you make your brand truly magnetic. That's what it takes in order for you to create a brand that is not only respected, but also extremely magnetic and people see the value in. Now, the next point is your energetic foundation behind visibility and success. Now, it's important that you create from energetic availability. So that means that you're open to clients. A lot of you're hiding behind free content. And as soon as someone DMs you, it's like you're scared. It's like you're afraid to even make an offer, to even tell them what you have to offer. And within the Queen of Cups, it's time that you step out from the shadows into the light and you realize what you have to offer. It is important. The feminine energy of receiving means that when you are giving, when you're feminine, you're pouring into other people, you also get to be relaxed and receiving the payments, relaxed and receiving the client reviews, relaxed and receiving the feedback that's going to be positive, because trust me, you're overthinking a lot of things and you're playing small in so many ways. I want to talk to you about how to build a brand that feels like you, aligned, authentic, and radiant. And I want us to see what our spirit guides bring up right now when it comes to this. Because being aligned, being radiant, being authentic, it means being you. I know it sounds cheesy, but let's be so real. You are authentic when you're your most aligned and vibrant. And the Emperor is literally the tarot card of taking the lead. It is the tarot card of stepping up, of not being afraid to show who you truly are, and also what you're really made of. And this can take time. So all of you who have been trying to up-level your business, or you're not sure how to attract the right clients, perhaps you're a coach, you're a tarot reader, you are just in the spiritual business world, and you want a legitimate business. You don't want one of these spiritual woo-woo mom and pop shop businesses that nobody takes seriously, because that is definitely one of my main goals with Psychic CEO. I want to bridge the gap between you having a business that provides for you, that leaves legacy, that your kids can remember you by, but at the same time also feels fun, also feels spiritually aligned, also feels like it's authentic. And the Emperor is literally a sign, like, in order to build that, you cannot be afraid to lead, and you can't be afraid to also tell people how it's going to go. An aligned brand means that you have boundaries. You have boundaries with your pricing, you have boundaries around the time that you spend with clients, especially if you're a coach, and especially if you're a mom, if you've got kids, or if you would like to have a family and kids one day. And a lot of my clients, actually, they really up-level and get into their sacred feminine leadership energy that also has this masculine emperor side to it once they do become moms, once they do get married, once they are engaged, because now they have to protect their family and the time that they get to spend with their family. So before, when they were single, perhaps they were a lot more lenient about work times, about clients contacting them 365 days per year on Saturdays, Sundays, outside of the hours in which they said they would tend to clients, taking on clients that don't respect that. That happens when you don't have anything to protect and when you're not protecting yourself. And let's delve a little bit into the self-love aspect about this. A lot of us, we don't value or love ourselves enough to have these boundaries with clients, and it shows. And it's almost a little sad that we have to wait till we're moms, till someone else is there in our lives for us to protect our boundaries and say, you know what, these are my office hours, these are my work hours, these are my prices, and I can't do more or go beyond that for you, because that is actually meaning that I'm draining myself and that I'm pouring out of an empty cup. So you really have to keep filling your cup. And remind yourself, the people who want a product that's worth $10,000 for $99, those are not your clients. Because guess what's going to happen with those people? They don't see the value, which means that they also will either not do the work, they won't get the transformation, or they're going to be the type of clients who are already like those energy vampires that are sucking you dry with something that you priced at $99 that should be worth $5,000 or $10,000. You think you're doing them a favor. You think if I price too high, then I'll be serving less people. If I price too high, then I can help less people. Well, how many clients do you have now? Like, how well is business going at $99 for your item, you know? So the thing is, you have to be aware of the fact that people who pay attention. People who don't pay attention. And the clients who want the last shirt off of your back for $99 are the ones who are going to complain, that you're not going to like working with, who are going to give you more issues than one client at $10,000 if you just repackage your offer and value it accordingly. And what that leads to is that you start to doubt yourself. You start to think, maybe my product isn't that good, maybe what I'm providing isn't amazing, maybe I am even overcharging. And then you question yourself and your pricing. Perhaps you put the pricing at an even lower point, and you get even worse clients, worse sharks, who literally smell blood, they smell fear on you, and they're going to drain you of everything. And in the end, you're left with even worse reviews, even less clients, and even less people that you've helped, rather than just focusing on the clients who are actually going to be able to get the transformation from your program and are actually going to be happy with your services and whom you can help more deeply. Remember here within the Bobcat spirit that the thing is, sometimes you have to be awakened into this. There's a reason why you're watching this right now. There's a reason why you're still listening. There's a reason why this resonates with you. And there's a reason why you know I am your spiritual business bestie, to shake you up and wake you into the fact that you get to charge more for your services, especially if it is worth it, especially if it's providing your clients with a huge transformation. Why are you so shy about it? Why are you so afraid? That's one thing that I would really like to learn more of. Now, let's get started. A lot of you know me from my main channel on YouTube. I started my YouTube journey in 2013, and I published my first tarot reading video on October 11th, 2018. And I published my first tarot deck, self-published it, my Gentle Heart Tarot deck, which is this one, by the way, that I've been using, on February 19th, 2021. And I built my brand, Bow Life Switzerland, into a thriving global brand. I created the Psychic CEO to help others merge spirituality with business and to create a program and a platform, I would have needed and I would have loved that unifies spirituality and intuition with business. And one of the main things that I've learned is that actually your energy is your greatest business strategy. Because just think about it. We all have such a unique and different type of energy. My energy, even just on the camera, is completely different than what your energy would be like if you're sitting in the exact same position in the exact same chair. And it also varies from day to day. So the Page of Cups is literally telling you the journey to creating a magnetic brand is actually a journey not so much about the brand, the colors, the logos, all of that doesn't matter as much. It's more a journey of self-discovery. It's more a journey of you figuring out who you truly are and the parts of you that you want to package and embed into your brand and sell and provide for others as a form of being able to get their desired results through your talents and through not cutting off who you are or your intuition or your passion and doing something that you think you quote unquote should be doing. So I want us to delve into just a couple additional messages that come up here on how you can create your magnetic spiritual brand for success. Now we've got the Chariot that showed up. All of my divine feminine leaders. The Chariot is a symbol that you have to get laser focused on one area. One of the greatest mistakes of a lot of my fellow spiritual entrepreneurs is that we're so creative. We have so many ideas. We have so many different things that we want to do. But the issue is we can never focus long enough on one thing or niche down enough to create success in that area. We have such big hearts, we try to serve everyone. And by trying to serve everyone, we end up serving no one. Just think about it. The iPhone, for example. It has a very specific function. Of course, you can check your emails, you can make phone calls and so on, but they didn't try to create something where you could print that was a walkie-talkie, that was a full screen TV, that was a car, that was everything at the same time. You can't be every vehicle, every solution, everything to everyone, because then you become nothing to no one. It's important you learn how to niche down. Even on my main channel, I thought to myself, there is no way that there's a big audience that wants to watch my pick a card tarot card readings. Guess what? We're at like 520,000 subscribers to date at the point of me filming this video. From doing the same thing over and over and over and over again in a very specific and particular niche. Now, at the beginning, I was doing a little bit of fashion, a little bit of makeup, a little bit of chit chat, girl talks, a little bit of motivational talks. And when I really started to just focus on only doing tarot videos, only publishing my decks, that's when my follower count started to increase. That is when I started to see traction, and that is when I was able to dominate my niche. Remember, it is incredibly valuable for you to dominate your niche rather than trying to do a little bit of everything and in the end be known for nothing and get nowhere. That is a vicious cycle that I see a lot of my spiritual entrepreneurs stuck in, and there's a reason why the Chariot has showed up, because it's telling you this is your message, this is your sign, this is your wake-up call. If you want to finally move forward with your business, be more successful than you've ever been, especially in a spiritual field, you have to pick a platform. Okay, so pick YouTube, pick Instagram Reels, pick podcasts. Of course, I'm going to recommend that you pick YouTube because you're able to do long form content and connect with a viewer on a more intimate basis, because studies have shown that people have to be able to consume about 6 hours of your content to then make any type of purchase from you, which is a lot easier for you to do on either YouTube or podcast rather than short form content. Focus in on one platform. Let's say it's YouTube, and then go in on your niche. If it's tarot, do tarot readings only. We don't want to see your motivational talks. We don't want to see you doing vlogs. We want to see you doing tarot readings and tarot videos. If you're a coach, post about your femininity, spiritual coaching, post about your trauma healing coaching, and only that topic. Go deep into that topic. Start solidifying yourself as the expert in that niche. Create your own frameworks. If you want to see how that works, I have created a 3-step framework. It is called the Freedom Framework. You can download it for free in the description box of my video, and it explains to you how you can create a type of coaching offer that sells, that gives you freedom and that people are happy with and delivers them a transformation that they desire. That's what I base, for example, my coaching program on. What I have found has worked best. When you unify course curriculums, community, as well as coaching calls, so people have the best of all worlds in a way that is affordable yet still deeply transformational and powerful. What I mean when I said to you earlier, create your own frameworks, download my framework as an example. It will give you ideas. It will inspire you. Whether you use it or not doesn't matter. This is about you creating your own spiritual magnetic brand, and for that, you need to be open to new ideas coming to you. Now, energy before strategy. Remember that your energy is what people feel before they hear your message. A magnetic brand begins with alignment over effort, authenticity over perfection, and intention over information. Remember that your energy is what sells. People buy based on energy. They buy based on how they feel. People don't buy things just because they need it, unless it's toilet paper or a toothbrush, and even then people have preferences. For me, for example, I would rather have the very luxurious toilet paper that is like 5 layers, 6 layers. I don't want any colors in it because to me that is wasteful, and I would rather use less of it and it be thicker and a more luxurious experience rather than the thin, flimsy stuff that you need more of, that perhaps even has some dyes and colors and chemicals in it. And even in something as essential as that, you're making a decision, you're basing your choice on how you feel. Of course, for some people, it's also what they can afford, but let's be so real. In this day and age, and especially if you're watching this video, people make a lot of decisions, buying decisions and purchases based on how that they want to feel. We're not talking about survival. Oh, so your ideal client, we're not talking about the kind of person who has to buy the flimsy toilet paper because they cannot afford the higher end one. That's not who we're talking about. Those types of people are not people that any of us should sell to anyways, whether we're coaches, tarot readers, any other types of spiritual entrepreneurs. Those types of individuals are not the target. They should focus on their survival, and they should focus on getting out of survival mode. Because trust me, I've been there, done that. When you, for example, put your entry price low, you create a type of pool of people who are in survival, and it becomes more of a pity party and more of a trying to get out of survival together, which often does not end up well if you're a coach or you provide any type of services, because they won't be happy with whatever is going on anyways, and they can't help themselves out of survival mode if you have those types of clients because, well, they're in survival mode. They need to deal with that first. And most likely your offer, if it's priced very low, does not even give you the opportunity to help them out of that because, again, it's priced so low. What kind of transformation can you expect if someone is paying $99? Right? You cannot completely revamp their life, build a business from scratch for them that is going to make them thousands of extra income every single month. And if you are working with clients who are still in survival mode, you will find that that might be their unrealistic expectation. You will unfortunately end up on their chopping block or experiencing their wrath because, well, you're the only person that they can let that anger and those emotions out on. And on top of that, if $99 is already a lot to them, you have now just taken a lot from someone who cannot afford it. And it's not that you've taken it, of course they've voluntarily given it to you, but that's why I'm trying to say to you, avoid that type of clientele altogether. It's energetically unaligned. It's not going to get you anywhere. They will not appreciate you or value your efforts because how can they? They're in survival mode. So let's have a little bit of compassion for that and instead ask yourself, how do I want people to feel when they interact with my brand? You can have offerings that are low ticket where you create a product that you sell at an entry level price that can give people a transformation if they do the work, even if they can't afford more. Have that as a solution where you're doing your philanthropic work. At the same time, you can make a little bit of extra income, but you already know that's not the expectation of your high 5-figure or 6-figure months, and that's fine. That can be that item, and the people who are very dedicated, who are in fight or flight mode, they can get a transformation to to the next level that will help them out of fight or flight mode, even if it's just taking that next step up, amazing. Do your philanthropy. That's also what my tarot card readings are for. I've got over 850 of them on my main channel. That is my pro bono, my philanthropic work that people can consume for free. Amazing. But you've done your free work at that point, okay? So after that, ask yourself how the right people should feel when they interact with my brand. Because there are 3 pillars of a magnetic spiritual brand, which is authentic energy for one, your vibration and your intention. Authentic energy is something that you can share with your customers when you understand your own intention. Maybe your intention is to help support single mothers. Maybe your intention is to help support people who are struggling with life. You're a life coach. And I see here in the Queen of Swords, you have to be a bit more cutthroat, just as the Queen of Swords, in communicating that message. Again, stop trying to be for everyone. Be very specific about who you are for. And you'll see that I will present this to you at the end of this video as well, where I will present to you exactly who my program is for. So you can take that as an example and you can see how specific I am. And no, the pool is not too small. The pond is not too little. A lot of us, we think if we niche down too much, we won't have enough clients or customers. But that's not true. Actually, the complete opposite is true. Because the more you niche down, the smaller pond that you dominate, the more you make. You're making a lot more in a pond where you dominate all of the koi that's in it, rather than trying to fish out in the open sea and not catching anything. And trust me, even in these niches or niches, however you would like to pronounce it, there's a reason why people say the riches are in the niches. If you dominate even a niche that you think is extremely small, like tarot readings for divorced single mothers, you can probably still make millions of dollars per year until you have completely dominated that niche and it's time for you to do something that is a little bit more broad. And unless you're actually already doing millions of dollars in your niche, you have not niched down enough, and you don't have to be worried about the fact that you're niching down too much. Just trust me on this. Let's talk about the second pillar, which is about you having a clear voice and a unique message. Your message cannot be clear or unique enough. As already mentioned, focus on being extremely specific, because that is when people will feel spoken to. If you just think about, for example, being on a subway and you just blurt out, "Hey," in a subway somewhere in New York or in London, is anyone going to pay any attention to you? No, they're just going to think you're a random person screaming "hey." But if you, for example, scream "Hey, mom," who's going to turn their heads? Who's going to look all of a sudden? It's going to be all of the mothers, right? And if you get even more specific and you say something like, "Hey, Maria," who is going to turn their heads and who's going to feel spoken to even more deeply? Anyone who's called Maria. So just transferring this example onto how you can get your ideal clients, it's the more specific that you are, the more uniquely that you communicate your vision and your service, and the more you're unafraid to actually just have a very small but concentrated pool of the right people, the better the results will be, because you can take your client from a transformation from where they currently are to actually getting their desired result, because you've got crystal clarity on it and you know exactly who you're speaking to. And the more you narrow it down, the better your client results and transformations will be. Word of mouth is going to spread, and you're going to have so many clients on your hands that you don't even know what to do with all of these bookings. You're going to be in abundance and complete overflow. Now, also aligned expression. Let's talk about visuals, words, and offers that match your energy. And again, you can have a value ladder type of system, which means you start by offering people a free PDF downloadable, then you have a low ticket offer, then perhaps you have a medium tier offer until your high ticket offer, and you also have free content, which don't get overwhelmed, okay? You can build all of this up over time, and if you do it one time, you can set it up to just create a flywheel of success and new clients coming in forever. But what I'm trying to say by that is make things aligned and make sure that you're not trying to duplicate or copy what you see someone else doing. I have a very specific and particular type of brand. It's the psychic, it's the tarot, it's the spirituality, and there would be no point in me trying to sever that from my brand or calling my brand something less magnetic like spiritual CEO, when why not just hit the nail on the head and call it psychic CEO? Why not hit the nail on the head on my main channel and not just be Vanessa the Tarot Reader, but Vanessa the Tarot Queen? You have to own it, and you have to be unafraid. Within the Two of Crystals, it's time for you to make a decision. There's a reason why you're receiving this message right here at this point of this video and at this point of this class, this master class. That's what this really is. It's decision-making time. The Two of Crystals means it's a two of the element of fire. It's time for you to decide that you're going to bet on yourself and you're going to do the thing. You're going to stop playing small. You're going to stop letting fear get in the way of you actually playing big, actually being bold, actually saying, you know what? Yes, my brand is pastel colors, or my brand is butterflies, or my brand is just black and white and some pops of pink or some pops of blue. Maybe my brand is like a Bali chic. Maybe it's a spiritual luxury. Maybe it's a boho type of brand. But be authentic to yourself and don't try to copy something that you see online. It never turns out well. Trust me on that. Just trust me, okay? Just save yourself years of agony and years of being in a hamster wheel where you're like, okay, how can I finally create something that works? Now, our first pillar about our authentic energy. Remember that your brand is an energetic expression of your soul. And when you create from inspiration, believe it or not, people feel it. Release comparison. Magnetism comes from individuality. Say this affirmation after me, my gorgeous soul. My authenticity is my magnetism. Let's repeat it. My authenticity is my magnetism, because that's all that you need. You have to just be yourself and package that up. You have to just realize your value that you've got in your head, the knowledge that you've got, how incredibly valuable that this is, and that there's so many people who would pay for it, and just package it up well. Just package it up in a way that, yeah, you can put a high ticket price on it. Now, the second pillar about your clear message. Speak from your truth, not from trends. Clarity attracts, confusion repels. Define what transformation you offer. This is a very important but also really big pain point, again, with spiritual entrepreneurs, and that's one of the main things that I teach you how to do, is how to niche down and how to do it properly, how to create your core offers that sell effortlessly, and how you can make claims of transformations you can actually deliver on. Because one of the big issues that I see is this scared kind of vibe and this very fearful energy around, okay, but can I really promise this transformation? Because what if my client doesn't do the work and then they don't get the result? Well, the thing is, you have to be authentic in your offer and the transformation, and there are certain ways in which you can ensure that your client gets the desired result and transformation. It's about systems, not about just leaving things up to complete luck. Now, ask yourself, if my brand could whisper one message into the world, what would it be? What would your brand be known for? What type of transformation do you offer? Are you taking women from being in marriages that are close to falling apart, where their husband or wives have stopped speaking to them, to now repairing that marriage and being back in a place where intimacy is the norm? Perhaps you're taking people from feeling deflated and depressed to actually getting their life back in order and creating a schedule where they can make the most of their lives. Maybe you're helping busy professionals to have a yoga flow that helps them lose 5 pounds per month until they hit their ideal goal weight, and then you help them to maintain that with their own workout and nutrition plans so that they can continue to have those results for the rest of time. So your transformation and your transformation statement is one of the most valuable things that you can work on, and when you really hit the nail on the head, all of a sudden, clients will come flooding in. Now, the third pillar is our pillar of aligned expression. Every color, image, and word should carry your energy. Don't try to look professional, aim to feel aligned. I see a lot of people making this mistake. They overthink their brand and they think their brand isn't professional enough. It's too spiritual woo-woo. It's too different. It's not giving this like cold, clean, black and white aesthetic of an office. But the thing is, like, we don't want that. We've already got that with banks, with insurances. We already have that in our day-to-day life with so many boring things. Be authentic. Make your brand represent you. Use colors and a free-spirited type of energy that would inspire you. Just think about it. What type of coach do you want to work with? What type of program do you want to enroll in? The one that is giving stark black and white and feels very cold and impersonal. And yeah, it looks professional, but at the same time, you know you're not going to do the work. You know that it's not going to be fun. You know that there's no connection there with that coach or with that program, and it's probably just going to be boring. Or are you going to go with the person who is vibrant, who is themselves, who tells you, yes, you can be in your feminine energy while still owning your masculine. Yes, you can unify your spiritual woo-woo side with traditional business knowledge and create a kick-ass business that gives you freedom that you've been wanting forever. Who are you going to work with? The person who is more in tune with their authenticity, who is more in tune with a brand that is vibrant and that shows off who they are, whether that's colorful or black or white, we're all different. It's not about the colors, it's about the energy, and it's about the authenticity. Because when you're authentic, you show up differently. You speak to clients differently. Everything, the messaging, the branding, everything just turns out so differently when it is authentic to you. So don't try to copy something that you're seeing. If the subdued kind of minimal aesthetic is not you, don't do it. If the colorful like pops of red and blue and orange and magenta aren't you, just don't do it. Because remember, the most important aspect of your business is from there on out going to be consistency. There's a reason why I have a successful coaching business. It's because I've been consistent for years on end. People know that I will show up. People know they can count on me. People know that they can expect a certain level from my brand. People have seen what I have done, and they know that therefore I'm qualified to teach them to do the same. And in order to be able to be consistent, you're going to have to be authentic. If you are playing a role, if you're playing someone that you're really not, you cannot consistently show up. Because if it is really hard every single time for you to create a graphic, something on your website, an email, a video, because you're trying to make your voice a certain way, you're trying to talk a certain way, you're trying to talk about topics you're not that interested in, but that you think you should be speaking of, it's going to be hard for you to show up consistently, because now all of a sudden, instead of an email that you want to do to stay in contact with the people on your email list just taking like 5 minutes for you to do, because it's just, and I do this often, all of you who are on my mailing list, you'll know this, I'm just like, hey, I have a tarot card reading video here for you, free value, watch it, enjoy it. Just to stay in contact, just to provide free value, just to keep my customer relationships strong and passionate, right? You won't be able to do that if you're putting on an act, if you're not doing something that you actually love, if it's not actually authentic to you. All of a sudden, something that is taking me 5 minutes is going to actually take you maybe an hour. It's going to be something that doesn't even pop in your head. It's going to be an action that you're not even going to take because you already don't feel like doing it, because you know it doesn't feel authentic. The same goes for creating content in order to market your business. For me, anything that I make off of AdSense, and that's why I don't care about the views on my channel, because I care more about the type of people that I'm speaking to being the right people who enroll into my program, because that is where the real revenue is made. That is where the real transformation takes place. So I don't care if I reach 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people on YouTube, but YouTube still pays me to market my own business here, right on this platform. And it is because I'm speaking from authenticity that I am able to show up consistently, because if I wasn't speaking from authenticity, I would maybe create a couple videos for a couple months, and then I would not create a video again for years or months. And there's a reason why I've been able to show up consistently on my channel for literally years, both live, both in videos, why I'm able to show up consistently on my platform, on my app, in my coaching program. It's because it is authentic. So remember, authenticity isn't just this word about like, oh, just be authentic, just be yourself. No, it actually means that it leads to consistency coming with ease, and consistency is the one thing that you need to build client relationships and trust, because that is the only way anyone will ever pay you, is if they trust you. Think about it. You're not going to spend money on something if you're shopping online if you think chances are pretty high that it will never actually reach your home. If you're not going to buy that item. And if you think chances are pretty high that this coach is just going to take your money, run away, and never deliver anything, you are not going to pay for it. And in order to feel as though you can trust someone, you have to see a track record. You have to see them showing up. You have to make sure that it is legit, right? And as a coach, as a spiritual entrepreneur, as someone who is providing something that they're trying to sell, remember to look at it from the customer's point of view, the customer's POV, really. Now, common misalignments, and I want you to avoid these energetic blocks altogether. I know it sounds very spiritual woo-woo, but if you're still here, you're vibing, you get it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're still here, by the way. Number one, do not force strategy strategy before alignment, okay? You can be the most strategic person. You can have a business plan for the next 5 years that you've got down to the T, down to the smallest number. It's never going to work if you're not aligned because, again, you're not going to show up. We already went into this, but just to reiterate, copying others' tone or branding, that is something to avoid at all costs because it's never going to work long term. And also you'll always have to wait for the person who you're copying to create something new to then copy that, right? So be the pioneer, be the creator, be the one who comes up with the new thing, and don't be afraid of people copying you. People copying you is the biggest form of flattery. I see it all the time in the tarot space, people copying me, my decks being copied and so on. It's just flattery because obviously I'm doing something right if you feel the need to copy it. And don't hide behind perfectionism. This is a topic that I can sing you a very long, grand song on because so many times I have thought to myself, this isn't perfect, this isn't going to turn out like as amazing as I want it to be, and then I didn't even put out the content. I didn't even allow it to see the light of day. Don't get stuck in this feeling like everything needs to be perfect because you'll never get anywhere. The Four of Swords literally confirms this right here, right now. The Four of Swords shows you lying down the swords, the overthinking. The Suit of Swords is a suit of the element of air, and it represents when you're overthinking, when you're in your head. The Four of Swords says exactly that. When you're overthinking, when you're in this kind of like loop of wanting everything to be perfect, in the end you end up either doing nothing, either putting nothing out. Nobody even knows you have anything to offer because you're being so hard on yourself. Whereas if you just launch the program, and I've helped a lot of clients do this, just launch. You don't even have to have the whole thing ready. You don't even have to know your entire offer. But by just launching, literally, I have helped clients generate 6 figures, $200,000 within 56 days of just launching their program because they actually went ahead and instead of trying to make it perfect, they went ahead and did it. And then what they also got to do was listen to their clients and their pain points and then make their curriculum even better in the weeks after enrolling their first clients so they could get them the transformation that they truly desired rather than just guessing, okay, I think my client wants this or that. But unless you've spoken to them, you don't actually know. And you can't actually create a course curriculum, a community, or a coaching plan that will get them there. So it's important that you make sure that you don't hide behind perfectionism because it's not doing anything for anyone. Also, fearing visibility. I literally did a live a couple weeks ago. It was called You Deserve to Be Seen, right? And it was about how I know a lot of you are afraid of being seen. You're afraid of putting your face out there. You're afraid of what are my old school colleagues going to say? What are the people who I know or people at my work? What are they going to say? What are my friends and family going to think? Who cares? When we're sipping alcohol-free cocktails on our yachts together, are you really going to care what they're saying from their apartment block on their couch after their work that they don't like going to and they're just talking trash about you? Are you really going to care? Because girl, I need to see you in all the places. I need to see you with me in Dubai Mall. I need to see you here in Switzerland. To see you next year at Snow Polo in St. Moritz, okay? I need to see you in the Maldives with me. Please, girl, just forget about the fear of being seen and remember that you don't have to look perfect. Nothing needs to be perfect. People connect to you a lot more when you're less perfect. That's actually one of the things that I feel is a pain point of mine because even just me always having a slick back ponytail. I have the most healthiest, longest, luscious curly hair past my hip bone, but the thing is, I just don't like how it has good days and bad days. I need control. I need perfectionism when it comes to that because I want to turn on my camera and just feel okay, everything is in place. But that is, for me, one of my pain points that I have to learn to get over. And I have to learn that, you know what, it's fine if things are not perfect. I don't have to show up perfect. Know that the more vulnerable you are, the more real that you are. And that's what I also did the other day in my Psychic CEO coaching platform. There are different circles. So we have tarot reading circles, we have coaching challenges where I coach you every single day as well. And then there's also the circle of just lifestyle, right? Where we post things like what we're doing, where we're going, and so on, keeping each other up to date, holding each other accountable. and I had posted my eczema that I'm dealing with, and I posted a photo unfiltered, just literally my face with the eczema, and so many of you loved it. So many of you said, wow, Vanessa, like this feels so much more human, this makes us so connected to you, like it is just so authentic. So don't feel as though your imperfections are a bad thing, or being authentic makes you seem less professional. Not at all. People want to see you, and your relatability is a huge superpower, especially in this day and age. And remember, you can't be magnetic if you're afraid to be seen. If you're afraid to put yourself out there, if you're afraid of what other people will think, then how are you going to enter a room? You're going to enter a room with your head held kind of low, kind of like not wanting anyone to see you. And that's going to make your posture, the way that you speak, and your offer so much less sparkly and shiny than it deserves to be. Okay, you're going to be so much more in your masculine energy of trying to sell, trying to convince, where you could just not chase and just attract. Don't do that to yourself, okay? Just don't. It's not necessary. Let's talk about the energy of attraction next. Magnetism happens when you share from overflow and not lack. You trust divine timing. You show up as the embodiment of your message. People buy your energy, not your products. And people buy the energy that you put into your products that make them feel like they will have a story of fulfillment. It is like when you purchase a car. And I work with a lot of wealthy people. I've grown up around wealthy people. There are people who definitely don't have to look at a price tag at all when it comes to something as quote unquote small as a car. But they're not purchasing the car for its features. They're not purchasing the car when it comes to, okay, will this get me from A to B? It's about the how. There are a lot of people who are extremely wealthy, but they don't want to come off as wealthy, so they want a car that gets them from A to B feeling normal. Then there are people who are maybe a bit more new money, a little bit more flashy, or they just love cars. They want to get from A to B either being seen, either being in a high-powered vehicle because they just love the craftsmanship of it and they're passionate about it, or perhaps they wanted to give them a certain type of status symbol that the low-key, perhaps more old money aesthetic person, or the person who does not want to be seen as wealthy for whatever reason, maybe they don't want people to notice, they don't want people to start asking them for things, they don't want to stand out, they don't want anyone to treat them differently. We buy based on emotion and how we think something will get us the transformation. If you are a coach, you are the vehicle, and people purchase from you based on how you're going to make them feel from A to B. They want to know that they'll get the transformation. They'll want to know that they get to B. That is the prerequisite, right? So the vehicle in itself, if you need a car, you need a car. And what does a car typically do? The whole point, the functionality is to get you from A to B. But the reason why you choose one coach over another, the reason why you choose the Ford, the Lamborghini, or the Bentley is because of how it gets you from A to B. The reason why you're getting a Beamer and not a Mercedes is because of the how. So I want you to recognize the fact that you are like your car brand, and you have got to learn to position yourself accordingly. If you would like to work with clients who appreciate getting from A to B in luxury and style and in being seen as special, then perhaps you want to position yourself more high class. You want to position yourself as more of a luxury car brand. Maybe you're more a Bentley, you're more a Rolls Royce, but perhaps you also like the very economical approach. Perhaps you want to be the Ford. Perhaps you want to be, I don't know, the Skoda, the whatever, you guys know I don't know cars. Perhaps you want to be the Jeep, the Skoda, whatever the lower tier from that would be, and perhaps you want to attract the type of clientele that wants to be within that range, within that echelon, that wants to feel that way. So it's not about what is better and what is worse, it's just about understanding people buy the energy that you bring to them. And it's important that you fine-tune that energy, that you understand the type of energy that you're exuding. It starts with the way you groom yourself, the way that you look, the way that you craft your offers, the type of transformation, but also mostly the way that you speak to your clients, the way that you make them feel, and how that they will get from A to B. Whether you're the type of person who will just provide them with some simple PDFs, some coaching calls, maybe that is more of the Volkswagen type of approach, but maybe you're like me and you're like, you know, I'm a Bentley, I'm a Rolls Royce, and what I can provide for you is a top tier coaching experience where you get an amazing app that I went out of my way to create for you so you can even watch your lessons and interact in the community on the go. So not just on on your laptop or on your tablet, you can do it on there as well. Everything is filmed in 4K. All of my course curriculums, I've got hundreds of videos, so every single question that you would have is answered, and you get crisp sound quality. You get the best lighting. When I show up for my Sunday live coaching calls, you get the best information, because guess what? I'm not just talking about publishing decks and you creating income generating assets. No, I've actually done it. I'm not just talking about you having a coaching business or, for example, selling products online on Shopify. No, I've actually done it successfully. I've actually gone from 0 to 7 figures. I've actually gone from 0 to over 500,000 subscribers on the main channel. So you decide where you are on your journey, right? I wouldn't have been able to do this from the very first moment. You upgrade, you level up. The more you invest in yourself and the more you invest in your journey and the more you learn, the more you execute. But you also get to decide, you know what, maybe I would rather have 10 clients whom I can just give this very easy curriculum to than 3 of them where I first have to build all of the stuff who will see the value in it, but at the same time, I first have to build all of the stuff for the Bentley experience, because there will be less buyers for the Bentley, but you'll have to have a higher level, but it's easier to make the sale because there's also less people on that level. There's more buyers at the lower level, at the Ford level, for example, but it's going to be easier to get there very quickly. And perhaps as long as you have a good economical price, they get from A to B, they just want to get to B, they don't care so much about the how, you'll still have happy clients and customers. All right, let's get more deeply into this. Next, let's talk about the practical steps for spiritual brand growth. Creating from intuition and not pressure. Again, pick a platform, pick what you want to niche down on, and then provide from there on out. Also, post what feels alive, not what feels forced. Make sure that you start to feel into your body when you're creating content. What feels good? What feels sustainable? If I didn't love tarot and spirituality, if I didn't love editing videos, if I didn't love the way that I made my thumbnails, which by the way, you can outsource all, but it's really essential that especially when you're starting to create your brand or you're refining your brand, you want it to become the Bentley, the Rolls Royce of spiritual brands, that you feel into what feels good and natural and authentic for you. And we've got the 8 of Swords in reverse, which represents you have to let go of the stigma that your brand should look a certain way. Or if it's not this, then it's not professional. Or if it's too fun, then people won't take it seriously. Let go of that. The most successful people I've worked with are people who are just authentic. They're not particularly professional. They're not even the best at the transformation, but they're authentic and they show up. Now, building rituals around your creativity is really important as well. For me, for example, for my program, I have rituals where my customers, my clients, they know when I'm going to show up. They know when we have our coaching calls. They know what they can do within the community, how they can ask for help, support. They know that there are certain rituals. And the same goes for my subscribers on YouTube. You know the drill. You know the ritual. You know that everyone is invited to the party. And infuse spiritual practices into your workflow, just as I'm, for example, infusing my spiritual practice of my tarot cards into the workflow, into being part of the creation process, because that will give you the stamina to keep going. That will make it authentic. And also, you get some insights, some hints of inspiration that you otherwise may have not had. And sometimes it's just that one little tweak that changes everything. And that one little idea that takes your brand from meh to being extremely magnetic, authentic, taking off, and you having your calendar and schedule booked in a way that feels comfortable, where you're making a lot of revenue and income, which allows you to invest back into your business rather than scraping by trying to sell to people who don't see the value in what it is that you're offering. Now, a quick reflection exercise that I want you to do, and feel free to share this below in the comment section if you're feeling comfortable to be vulnerable. I want you to ask yourself, what part of my brand doesn't fully reflect my current energy? I want you to ask yourself, what would alignment look and feel like right now? I want you to take some deep breaths. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what areas that you know you can release self-limiting beliefs in. What areas of your brand you know could better reflect your authentic self? Because chances are you are amazing, you're authentic, you have so much to offer, but you've kind of been holding back. And it's time for you to let go of that, because you are your brand. This is a lifestyle brand. You're not just selling a toothbrush. This is you. You are the engine. You are the most important part of your brand. And when you're feeling small, when you're feeling unsure, when you're feeling misaligned, it shows, and it will show in your numbers. And until you've gotten to a place where you have created a brand where customers, clients, and programs are just sold automatically, you have to take good care of yourself. You have to make sure you're in alignment, and you have to make sure that you feel authentic, because only like that will you be able to show up in a disciplined and consistent manner that allows